Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Mr. Franco Burrows. Franco, good to see you, brother. How are you?
Yes, Mr. Fresh. Very good, very good. The sun is shining here in Swansea, and I've been having morning dips, blue skies. Perfect.
Awesome. Well, perfect's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Well, Franco, I know recently, one of your specialties, you have many of them. And for those that don't know, haven't heard the podcast in a while, Franco is a graduate of the activation method, the Alpha Reset. He went into the Brotherhood and now is one of our advisors for the Powerful Man. So if you're interested in the programs that we offer and you just want to talk to somebody to get a little bit more guidance and you're a business owner, Franco is actually one of the guys you initially will talk to. And he's been through all of our programs for there. But Franco also has been studying for many, many years the art of intimacy and seduction. I'll just say that way, going through there. And you just recently put together a cheat sheet tutorial coming up, and we'll tell us a little bit about it. What's it called?
Yeah, it's called Reclaim the Sex Frame. So it came about, as you said, I went through the Brotherhood, and as I was going through the program, like everybody else, the great thing about the Brotherhood is everybody brings something, because there's a lot of high achieving, very talented men on the program. And everyone, I guess, brings their own strengths. So one of the things that I just found myself in conversation with the guys in the Brotherhood and helping them, just get their sex life more on their terms and a little bit juicier, because they're playing at a high level and it's like everything's going great now. I've sorted this out. I've taken care of business. the marriage is good now. It's great now. It's just that little bit of extra spice that we're looking for. So, I've since then, and having stepped into the advisory role, doing a lot of work with hundreds of men every month, and the same topics are coming up. It's, I want more sex. I'm not getting sex on my terms. It's not often enough. It's when it does happen, there's not enough enthusiasm. There's not enough desire. A lot of guys say that, it feels like a little bit of a chore to their wife. It's something that was for me, like a lot of guys. I mean, I've had periods where I've been on top of my game, and then I've had periods where it's like, what the fuck is going on? What am I missing here? So I've had my times where I've gone down the rabbit hole and looked into seduction, and not just reading up on things, but looking into my own past history and what works and what doesn't work. So we did a podcast on it a while ago, Tim and I. So here we are now with I've just finished an ebook which is ready, hot off the press, so we can break some of it down today.
Excellent. Yeah. And for the guys that are in the Brotherhood, we've done a whole series, a mini course on sexual mastery and some stuff on seduction. You're always helping the men out. Like you said, one of the great things about the Brotherhood is guys bring in all areas of expertise, experience, and the things that they're learning, and they just share with each other openly. It's almost like having your own pit crew. If you're a race car, you're having all these guys in there. And it's been great for me to watch you on your journey. You're one of those guys that just dives in. When you're interested in a subject, you go all in. I mean, you're talking to every expert in the world. You're reading every book, taking every course. And the last couple of years, this has been your journey. Now, what you wrote were 8 ways to regain the sex frame. Today, we only have time to talk about 5 of those at most. And if you guys stick around at the end of this, I'll give you the way that you can get all 8, right? Because like anything, any recipe, we talk about spice, having plain chicken every night is going to be boring. That's why you got to spice it up a little bit. So Franco's going to give you his best 8 recipes, so to speak, in here. But we'll have time to go over maybe 5 tops, maybe 3 to 5 today. And then guys, stick around to the end, and then we'll give you the way you can get all 8 of them. So we're not going to leave you hanging here. We really want to give all of these to you for free. So you have these in your arsenal. So Franco, first of all, what the heck is a sex frame? Why don't we start there?
Sex frame. Yeah, well, I've talked about this on some of the other podcasts. So frame is frame of reference, as in whose reality are we living in right now or in a relationship. And the whole idea is it's very rare for, if at all possible, for two frames, as you know, to collide and to have a 50-50 split. It tends to be one frame takes over the other. And that's just the laws of physics, I guess. And what we see, well, certainly what I've seen, you tell me if you've seen anything different, but with all the healthy relationships we see, whether they've started off healthy or become healthy, that we see in the powerful man, we definitely see that the woman is looking up to her man and she loves being in his world. So the example I always give is at the start of a relationship, when the frames are being set, you might have a woman, for example, who she's never been into football, but all of a sudden, because she's totally in her man's world, she's in his reality, she starts supporting his football team, and she starts wearing the jerseys and going to the games and whatever. But it's really more because she just loves being in his world.
Mm-hmm.
Same with golf. She might take up golf. She might take up something else.
Yep. And there's different frames for all, and the relationship frames can switch for depending on the subject. What we're talking about here is sexuality, right? And how to actually recover the frame. So you can be controlled, not in a manipulative way, guys. I want to make sure you guys understand this. When I say control, you're not doing something against her will, but you're making something enticing, right? I can make something as an example. So the guys, I want to make sure the guys, I understand what you're talking about. I want to make sure they do. Because not everybody's listened to every podcast. And if you guys should go back and just search for Franco's podcast alone, they're all gold when he's come and guested here. But for my child, for guys that have kids, right? You can own the frame and make anything fun for your kids. You can make cleaning up fun where the kids are dancing around and they're loving having a good time. You're controlling the frame of reference there. But you want to do the same thing within the bedroom, right? Pre-bedroom and afterwards. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, because one of the frustrations is with a lot of the men that we speak to is that it's all on her terms.
Yep.
It's like she says when, oh yeah, you might get lucky tonight, and oh, I don't feel like it now, I'm a bit tired, and so it's not like it's when we say all on your terms or in your frame, it's not like you're calling the shots on absolutely everything. She wants to come in. She wants to come into that frame.
Yeah, you're making it exciting, enticing, and a fantasy that she wants to live into.
And it's also based around the masculine, feminine energy. It's like we say, like a lot of the guys say, yeah, it takes two to tango, and she's just not tangoing. And I always say, yeah, but it takes one to lead.
Yep. In any dance, you have somebody who's leading that dance.
Yeah. And most women are going to enjoy dancing more with a masculine man leading them.
Yep. 100%.
That's just the way it is. And, I used to do a bit of salsa, and the women complained all the time. There weren't enough men there. and because the experience is not the same if they're not being led through the dance by a masculine man.
Yep. I'm with you 100%, buddy. I just want to make sure we clarify that.
Yeah.
For all the guys, this is nothing you're controlling your woman at all. You're actually making it more enjoyable for her.
Yeah.
So, Franco, what's number one?
So number one is putting her on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
I think you saw it the other day. I shared a post in the group, the Amy Winehouse lyrics.
Yep.
To what's the name of the song? I can't remember. You should be stronger than me. You should. I saw that post.
Yeah.
So, I say we should be equals. We should be equals in relationship. But the nature of male and female characteristics is that we've got complementary things that we're bringing to the relationship. So there's times when she wants to look up at you. She doesn't want you to be on an equal level. It's like if someone breaks into the house, there's no equality there. You've got to go and sort out whoever's trying to break into the house, So same thing for whatever, spider or whatever, dealing with all sorts of things. But putting her on a pedestal is not really what she wants, what's the word I'm looking for? Deferring to your wife on everything, it's calling her the boss, and I know it's said in jest a lot of the time. But yeah, just that's not what she wants. It kills the attraction a lot of the time, you know?
Yep. And this is one of the reasons books like 50 Shades of Grey were so popular, right?
Yeah.
The lead character in 50 Shades of Grey was a very assertive, domineering male, right? He loved her, but he was also very asserting. He adored her, but didn't put her on a pedestal, so to speak. And, there's a reason this book sold, tens of millions of copies. It's not because the women reading this, and maybe some men, didn't want this type. It's a fantasy. It's what they're desiring. And so we're talking about putting your wife on a pedestal. When you put someone on a pedestal, two things happen, right? One, you're just saying you're better than me, ergo I'm less than you. And, that we can talk about all kind of hypergamy and all kinds of other things here, but
that's the thing, isn't it? Women are programmed. They can't help it to be attracted to men that they can look up to, So, I gave the example of, I forget what it was now. It was either a panther or a lion or a tiger, but there was some guy who was climbing up a mountain and there was a wild animal that attacked him, and he was into Brazilian jiu-jitsu or something. So he's wrestled this beast to the ground, and I don't know if he killed it or whatever. But I always remember looking at the news conference, because it was all over the internet, all over the news channels. I'm looking at his wife, and I was just thinking, that man is getting laid tonight. It's like, so there was no sit down and asking for, for more sex or whatever. It was on, and that's it. Women are just programmed for that man who's a competent, fearless, courageous leader. That's really what they're looking for. Yeah, and they can't help it. It's arousal, and this is where a lot of the men go wrong in sort of trying to negotiate desire.
There's a lot of brain, and we're not going to go over all this today, right, Franco? But there's a lot of brain chemistry that happens here. You say women programming. This, what we're talking about is more, anthropological terms, like back in the savannah of Africa or wherever, for survival, men did certain things, and they got rewarded with dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, brain chemicals, in order to survive. And women did the same thing. And so a lot of the things that we do in life now, even as modern people, are still driven by this same kind of mentality and this brain chemistry. That's why we socialize in groups. And when you're alone, you can get depressed because that's not good for your survival, right? Necessarily. Yeah. Anyway, we won't go into those details. Let's go over what's number 2.
Number 2 is all about sexual market value. So letting yourself go. You put on 30 pounds. You don't look quite as sharp as you used to. But it's not just looks. It's health. It's fitness. It's, have you let go of your social circle? Because sexual market value, again, to women, one of the great realizations a lot of men have that come into the Powerful Man is that for women, social proof is a big factor in their attraction for us. Whereas the other way around, we don't really care. If she's hot, and that's it. We're not, if someone else finds her attractive, we don't think, oh, I find her more attractive. But that definitely is the case for women. Yeah. If she sees you with a hot woman, or if she sees a hot woman, or any women take an interest in you, or clearly attracted to you, then that's what they call pre-selection. Again, going back to the evolutionary psychology aspect of it. So it's not that we should go out there and start flirting with everyone and reminding her overtly, but a lot of guys, when we get into a relationship, her attraction is in danger of plummeting almost immediately, because she thinks, well, I've got him, and she just forgets that she's with an attractive guy because she's not seeing evidence of it every day. Because when she's attracted, her whole brain lights up.
Yep.
When we're attracted, only the visual part lights up. So, and that's why we shouldn't put him on a pedestal, because if anything, we're the prize because we like the whole brain up, you know. I know a lot of women won't like that, but yeah, it's. I think there's some truth in that. Certainly, it's useful to think of it that way for the men, even if it's not 100% true anyway. You know, so yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, so sexual market value, I think, is huge. And, when men join the activation method now, we have an 8-week program, a fitness program that they can choose to opt into if they want to, that takes them through a series of workouts. And the reason we do that is because we've seen, and I've done this, Franco, right? I've done this a couple of times, where you just let yourself go, right? I use the excuse, I got a new baby, right? I'm only sleeping like 2 hours a night, or I'm working a lot, or, who cares? Pizza tonight's not a big deal. And the next thing you know, 6 months later, you're a little chubbier, right? You're not looking as good, or you're dressing slovenly, right? You're wearing the same t-shirt you had 15 years ago with the stains, right? From your college days. Anyway, that happens, and you just get comfortable, and you stop being fun, right? You think of a tropical island. Let's just think of a vacation spot that we'd like to go to. You hear the Caribbean a lot anywhere in the world. Well, the Caribbean's amazing, right? And I've been there, and when you go to the Caribbean, you're just in awe. Wow, the water is amazing. You're scuba diving, you're snorkeling, you're doing all these fun things. But if you're there for 5-6 months, the beach stops to become less attractive. You stop going, you stop noticing the beautiful sunsets and water, and you start noticing, the cracks in the pavement. And these buildings are actually pretty old here. And there's actually quite a bit of crime in this area. And the same thing happens when you're with your woman over time and you start dressing slovenly, you start just getting into a pattern or ritual of the same, your market value goes down because the excitement, the new car smell isn't there anymore. So you do have to keep it fresh. And that's where having your social circle, showcasing your market value, whether it be at the gym or somewhere else, really does keep the spark in your relationship and keep things active.
Yeah, because again, if you look at that from evolutionary psychology terms, for a woman, she's not just, if she's getting with a man, it's not just the man, it's his whole tribe that can potentially protect her and look after her kids and everything else. So it all feeds into that. The word I've used in the ebook is resourcefulness. So it's not just about how much money you make, although a certain amount of income is important to not just cover the bills, but be able to take holidays and everything else. But it's your ability to make good stuff happen, to have a good life.
Yeah. And this is why we also see, this is a complaint we see a lot of guys come through. Guys listening to this, you may have experienced this, is things have become rudimentary. You let yourself go, et cetera, but you're crushing it in business. And that's where the guy on Facebook or Instagram comes into play. He's new, he's fresh, he's doing all these exciting things, or she thinks, and his sexual market value goes up and yours is going down. It's like a stock. You don't want to invest in a stock that's going down, right? You don't want to jump in. You want to jump in one that you think is going to increase. I think that's where S&V comes in really, really into play. Yeah,
absolutely. Especially in today's world, because, it's not like the 1950s anymore, is it? Where we bring on the bacon. You and I have spoken about this before. It's only one piece of the puzzle now.
It really is.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what's number 3?
Now, this is a massive one. I think this is potentially the most important one. So this is, she doesn't feel safe with you.
Ooh.
And I've had my ex say this to me, and I couldn't for the life of me work out what she meant by that. She said, I don't feel safe with you. I thought she was like, someone's going to break in and you won't protect me. And maybe she did think that, I don't know. But what I've learned since is that, yes, the physical aspect, being able to protect her, is important. But that's just, again, one part of the jigsaw. So it's, does she feel safe with you emotionally? Can she be herself around you? It's like, I mean, I know you've given this example, and I use it a lot as well, is she's just like, she needs to be like a little girl. It's almost like a little girl with her dad. She needs to be able to cry, to look stupid, to say stupid things that don't make sense. and not be judged, so that's emotionally accepting her, validating her, giving her the space. So we talk about it a lot in The Powerful Man, about being the pinball machine. We provide the strong, stable boundaries. She's bouncing around inside, changing direction, not making sense a lot of the time, but we're okay with that,
Yeah.
And the boundaries are very important as well, because she needs to know that we do have boundaries, and she will test them just like a child will test them in order to feel safe.
I've experienced the same thing, Franco. My wife told me I don't feel safe. And I was like, what do you mean? Of course, you and I know each other. I think of myself as like 6'8", 280 pounds. I'm not, right? But I have that mental image of myself, which is completely distorted. And I'm going, what do you mean I can't defend you? Or, I'm thinking the same thing you were. And she said the same thing. She's like, I don't feel emotionally safe with you. Right. At the time, what it was she was trying to tell me is, when she would say something to me, I might erupt, right? I might get angry or upset. And what she was really saying is, look, feminine energy is free flowing. It's dancey. It's flowy. It moves around, where masculine energy tends to be more linear. You can just see this with people not like yourself, because you're a salsa guy, but for the rest of us dancers, you could see it on the dance floor at any wedding. The women tend to be much more flowy and beautiful. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And what she's saying basically is, when I'm going through my emotional ups and downs, or storm, so to speak, and I fall, are you strong enough to catch me? Yes. Right? Emotionally, can I absorb into you, or are you going to react? And this is very different when we talk about deer, right? The R in deer is react, right? Defend, explain, excuse, react. That's when guys are in the deer mode. When we react or do anything else in deer, that's what indicates to her it's not safe. It's not safe to her to be all the colors of her rainbow, so to speak, and all the energy. And when you miss that as guys, what I didn't know at the time is you also miss out the freaky sides of things. That she can also be all of these things in the bedroom. And when she feels safe, then she allows that stuff to come out.
Yeah. Since then I've literally had women say, I feel so safe with you, and then you can do whatever you want to me.
Yeah.
And it was just like, why the fuck didn't I know this before?
Yeah.
So literally the world is your oyster, sexually, when she feels safe. It's incredible. So, and it's not about techniques, so when I'm working with the guys to help them, and it takes them a while to realize, they keep asking for techniques, and it's like, well, until we get these foundations in place, the techniques are not going to work anyway, or if they do, it's going to be hit and miss, but once you got the foundation in place, anything you do is going to work.
And I mean, I was talking to one of the guys in the Brotherhood yesterday, and I was telling him, I said, look, he was asking for, it's like, Doug, just give me the what's the tactic? Tactic is the word he used for me. And I said, look, the reason we have the activation method the way it is it sets the foundation from which you can jump off of and do anything. That's why most guys continue on to the Brotherhood, right? Because now they can start utilizing some tactics or what have you. But it's the foundation, what we're talking about here, these 8 things that you need to have in place before you can start doing some of the more tricky moves.
Literally, we had one of the guys. He had a good sex life. You know what I mean? It's like not like some of the guys who come in the program haven't had sex for months and different things. But he just wanted it to be more an expression of him, and he wanted to,
He wanted a great sex life. Who doesn't?
He wanted great sex. Yeah.
Good's not good enough.
Exactly. Good, better, best.
Yeah.
So, it's been great to see him realize that a lot of it is he was actually trying different things, and she even said to him, look, you're trying things on here, and it's but as soon as he stopped trying things and focused on the connection, there's 3 things, isn't it? There's resentment, connection, and polarity. Once you've got those in place, you don't need techniques. So we're going to squeeze in one more before
Let's squeeze in one more here, buddy. I appreciate you taking the time. Okay. I know you're a very busy man. Let's go with number 4. And guys, don't worry. We'll tell you how to get all 8 here in just a little bit. What's number 4, Franco?
All right. So hang on. 4. I thought that was 4.
Maybe it was 5. My counting is
5. The next one, anyway. The next one is you let resentment get in the way. So I've mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a huge one. So again, going back, and this links into being safe. Because if there's resentment built up, a lot of women just won't want to be intimate. Right? So as men, we've got this fantastic ability to put all kinds of toxic shit aside if we're horny.
Yep.
You know? I mean, she could have been the biggest bitch ever. She could have done, you know, but it's like, if we're horny, then, you know, let's get it on.
Yeah.
But most women, I find, are not like that. If there's a lot of serious resentment, unresolved things, so you get to fix all of those, not all of them, but you get to fix emotionally what's going on in the relationship before you can have the sex life that you want.
Yeah. Well, to give guys a little bit, I'll give you 1 second here, Franco, to give guys a little bit more explanation that I've been listening to the podcast over time. This is where we talk about scales, right? And you think of a balance beam scale, right? They used in chemistry, or, you know, the Liberty scale of justice. And over time, these resentment builds, and the bad feelings and emotions and experiences outweighs the good ones on the scale. And that's why it's super important to get rid of that resentment, and that's why we use the clean slate method, right? The clean slate method really evens out those scales. So now you can jump off and do a lot more, right? Now you can have a lot more fun. So the resentment is a huge issue we see. And where we see it playing out is the bedroom, but it starts way outside the bedroom, right?
Yeah, because we get some guys in who are really alpha. You know, I mean, you can tell as soon as you get on the phone with them, and then they come into the program, they're in good shape. They, you know, they're killing it in business. You know, you can just, you know, they maybe come from a sports background, fighting background, whatever. And yet, if the wife doesn't feel safe and there's resentment as well, it doesn't matter. You know, it happens to the best of them, basically. You know, that have a less than fantastic sex life. It's those 3 things: sort out the resentment, sort out the connection, and sort out the polarity. So some men are coming in from different places, but it does tend to happen actually with stronger men that the resentment builds up.
Yep.
Sometimes, because, you know, we had one guy who, because he was learning all of the skills in the Seduce Your Wife program that you ran, he was able to connect with her, and she actually admitted that she was withholding sex. I think you saw this. Withholding sex because of not resentment necessarily, but just to sort of bring him down a peg or two. He had too much power in the relationship. And that was her way of exerting power, you know, finding empowerment, not necessarily in a healthy way, but yeah.
Yeah. There's a post, I was scrolling through the private community to look for it. But there's one of these guys you're talking about, very strong man. And he posted, he's going through the activation method right now. I think he's in week 4 or 5. And he just did his clean slate method, kind of what we're talking about. And his post was, "Oh my God, this shit works." You know, that's the realization a lot of guys have, because that resentment builds up so much. And she could use it, as you're saying, to manipulate with holding sex or what have you, because that resentment then forms a power struggle, right? And because there is no polarity when there's that resentment, it's very difficult to have it. And then you have to clean the slate in order to start back there, right? Yeah. And oftentimes what happens is guys decide, okay, even though I'm a strong alpha guy, so to speak, and I'm using alpha a different way than we use it in TPM, but using it more in the typical way that's used in the vernacular. What I'll do is I want to keep the peace, and then they become the beta, right? Yeah. They become the beta at home. Yes, dear. Okay, dear. And then what happens, Franco, after about a couple of weeks of her gnawing at him, just testing him, he blows up. He yells, he screams, he walks out, he does whatever it is. They get in a big fight. Then he feels resentment and regret, and they're further down the path of him sleeping on the couch and not getting laid doing that. And so that resentment plays a big role, especially for guys that are just naturally stronger men in general, and because it gets confusing. They're conquering it with their boys, they're out having a good time or whatever, but they go home and they become submissive because, they don't want to ruffle feathers.
Yeah, because, I've noticed that when women are single, they can put aside the emotional connection sometimes for a hookup, but in a long-term relationship, it doesn't work.
No.
They need to have the emotional connection. So it really depends on the situation. But if you're a married guy, then that's a big one, definitely.
Definitely is. Well, Franco, I know you've got 8 of these, and I know you well enough to know you always save the best for last, coming in through there. So, guys, if you want all 8 of these, the best thing to do is go over to the Facebook group. Right? There's a Facebook group for the Powerful Man. It's free. It's for business owners. Guys, just give you a heads up. But go ahead and post in there that you want. We'll call it the 8 frames. What's the title again, Franco? Sorry.
Reclaim the sex flame.
Reclaim the sex flame.
Yeah. If you go in there now, you'll see it almost at the top of the group. If not at the top of the group, I've just put a post in there about it. So you'll see it there. If you're watching this a bit later on, then, you can always just search for me in the group and I'll make sure you get it.
Yep. And what you do is just put something in there. Just type in sex frame anywhere in the group, and Franco will find you and get you guys a copy. For guys that are part of the Brotherhood, don't worry. You guys have a copy coming to you already. So as always, we share those resources. But for the rest of you, again, this is something we're just giving away. Franco put it together because he's very passionate about helping men, regardless whether in our program, whatever you guys are doing out there. The Powerful Man's more of a movement to help men. Of course, we think our program's the best, otherwise we wouldn't be doing it. But we want you guys just to get the help you need, and so you guys can keep moving forward. Well, right? The
thing is, for a lot of the guys, me included, it's not really about the sex. It's one thing that a lot of people misunderstand, including a lot of men, is that we definitely want emotional connection as well.
Sure.
But we get it through the physical. So it's the touch, the physical admiration, and that's where we get it, but we need to meet women halfway, give them the emotional connection to open them up to that.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, we hear this from all the guys coming in. Yes, I want more sex, but I also want more intimate, passionate sex and more connection with my partner. Right. Yeah. And we get that through sex. And I know for my wife and I, when we feel disconnected, that's our go-to. All right. Fastest way for us to get reconnected is have sex. Then maybe we can have a conversation or something, but it's just really get through the physical first and then have a good time. Right.
Sounds healthy to me.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm feeling a little disconnected right now, so I might have to go reconnect. Franco, as always, man, I know you're a busy man. I appreciate all you do for the men out there all over the world. You really give your energy to all these guys. Guys, if you're listening and you've had a conversation with Franco already, go ahead and just show him some love in the Facebook group and let him know. I'm sure you guys have already, but this man deserves some public accolades for all.
I get a lot of love. In fairness, it's great.
Yeah, it is great. Well, you do a lot. So, gentlemen, if you want all 8, go over to the Facebook group. It's really easy to find. Just go ahead and search in Facebook, The Powerful Man. You'll find the group. Go ahead. There is a little quick application process to go through, but you'll get admitted and find Franco's post in there and just go ahead and tag yourself and he'll get you a copy. And these are things that you want to start right away so you can build a solid foundation. And this foundation can be applied to a lot of areas in life, really. But really with the intimacy in your relationship, you'll see that bleed over, as all the guys do, into their business, into their health, into their spirituality and self, as well as into their wealth. So, Franco, thank you again for being here with us.
Thank you, Doug. Speak to you soon.
Yep. Cheers. All right, guys, have an amazing week. And as always, take action. If you've got any insights here, we want you to take action on them right away. And again, go over to that Facebook group. It's a private community, bordering almost 3,000 business owners in there, married business owners. The conversations are amazing. Guys like Franco are in there as well. So guys, take care. And we'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show.